Growing up, I was the socially awkward, quiet one in my friend group that was often missing out on all the social fun. I was in the corner, not participating in conversations or activities, and just wanted nothing to do with it. I'd come up with excuses to not want to hang out with my friends because I'd rather get lost in a video game. And I didn't even have a girlfriend in high school because I was way too socially awkward to even approach a girl. Damn, if Hinge was around back then, it would have been game over. Approximately 1/3 of the population are introverts, according to Psychology Today. And as introverts, we have a lot of great qualities. We're often highly observant and analytical. We're typically very independent and prefer to work alone. We're creative problem solvers. We're detail-oriented and organized. But if you're watching this video, chances are you may have a hard time in social situations and making friends. You may have low self-confidence. You may want to learn how to have more fun and feel more alive. You may want to become a better leader and public speaker. Maybe you just want to be able to walk up to your crush and not throw up immediately after. It only happened a few times, all right? So can an introvert become an extrovert? That's the golden question. Well, science says yes, to a degree. Like many opposite traits, introversion and extroversion are on a spectrum, and different people lie at different places along the spectrum. Some introverts are a lot more introverted than others, and some extroverts are a lot more extrovert than others. And then you get into introverted, extrovert, and all of that. Freaking, I don't know what the world's coming to.
Is this real life?
The bottom line here is it is possible as an introvert to become more extroverted if you're willing to put in the reps. So as someone that grew up in a tiny mountain town that had to learn to get out of his shell when he moved to the big city to go to college, I'm going to give you the guide that I have used that have helped me become a lot more extroverted. The first thing is to identify your strengths. I used to be incredibly shy and introverted. I was afraid to speak my thoughts and often lived in my head. I never wanted to express my ideas to the outside world. I wasn't interested in that. But a strength that I've always had is persistence, and this was something that I wanted to change. So when I got to college, I started taking public speaking classes, things that just put me completely out of my comfort zone. And this forced me to speak out publicly and express my ideas. I learned about the importance of my introverted traits and to be okay expressing them on my more extroverted side. I began to understand the power of my introversion and how that could bring a unique perspective to conversations I was having. And identifying my strengths and using them to my advantage has helped me become more extroverted because I have taken those things such as persistence and allowed that to be a driving force in putting myself out there and just forcing myself to become more comfortable with making friends and public speaking and all of that. I now feel completely comfortable in social situations and I can express myself freely. Change your environment. I was an outsider in high school and I was afraid to just simply be noticed. I was so used to the comfortable bubble that I had built for myself that I just didn't want to step out of it. Once I went away to college, I was forced to get out of that bubble. I knew this change would put me in a very uncomfortable situation and I just had to embrace it. I remember when I first got to college, it's embarrassing to say this, but I was such a loner that I would walk around with my cell phone just to my ear and pretend I was talking to someone just so people wouldn't look at me and judge me for sitting at the cafeteria by myself or anything of that nature. It was super embarrassing and internally I was like, I am such a loser for doing this.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
This was a hard adjustment for me because I was just so overwhelmed by all the new places, all the new people, unfamiliar faces. I didn't have my friends to fall back on. Just my comfort zone was completely eliminated. But this new environment forced me to become more extroverted. I remember freshman year, I was so miserable that I wanted to just drop out and go back to my hometown because I was just like, I'm so socially awkward. I'm never going to make friends and I should just go back to what I know. And I'm so glad I didn't do that because my life would not be where it is today. Instead, I doubled down on changing my environment and I started to join social clubs. I started getting involved in intramurals. I was doing every little bit of things I can to put myself in a position where I was able to meet like-minded people and make friends. And then fast forward to senior year, I was homecoming king of my university. It's amazing how much of a difference an environment change could make if you embrace it and you just double down on it. Practice social interactions. I used to be way too anxious and insecure to engage in conversations. I knew I wanted to be more extroverted, but I lacked the confidence to even allow myself to try to be. I just thought that this was who I was and I couldn't change, and I was just gonna be just a quiet loner for the rest of my life. But once I started to practice social interactions, it became a lot easier for me. I remember when I would rather die than talk to a stranger at, say, a coffee shop. So I started to make little bets with myself, like I dare you to go and strike up conversation with that person line, and things that I just would not want to do. And I said, all right, and I just went at it in fear, and I got better at doing it. And every time I would just get out of my comfort zone just a little bit more, I felt just a tad bit more confident doing so. Now I'm at the point where I do not feel anxious or intimidated by social situations. It's very normal for me now. I used to be so afraid of what people might think of me that I was just constantly second guessing myself and trying to shy away from any type of social interactions. Something that really helped me was I would start to go to events by myself. I remember the point in college where I was thinking about joining social clubs, and the only thing that was kind of holding me back was having the crutch of going with someone else. I didn't want to show up to these events by myself and have everyone just think I was a complete loner. But I knew that it was either I go by myself or I don't go at all. And so I said, all right, let's do it. It was super awkward and uncomfortable, and I would try to, again, do the phone tactic and everything I could to just make myself look a little bit more interesting and desirable and not just super shy. But after doing this 2 or 3 times, I started to find my confidence. I realized that I could be just as engaging and charismatic as anyone else at the event if I just put myself out there and I just try to engage and compliment people and try to find like-minded people in the event that I felt like may have the same interests as me. This allowed me to build meaningful relationships with people that I still have to this day. And if I didn't force myself out of this comfort zone, that never would have happened. So I highly recommend just getting out of your comfort zone and just be okay with knowing that you're probably gonna be awkward the first few times you try to go to things by yourself, if that's what you're willing to do. It takes a lot of guts, but if you can do that and you strike up meaningful conversations with people, then it can not only make you more extroverted, but you may find yourself having very meaningful relationships. I was always so intimidated by the extroverts of the world, and I didn't think I could be like them. With a bit of practice, you can become a more confident, outgoing individual while still being an introvert, I promise you guys. Are you gonna become the loudest person in the room? Probably not, but you probably don't wanna be. Just don't force yourself to try to be someone you're not, but recognize that if you want something, like you want to be a more outgoing person, but you feel too timid, just know that you can do that. You're not stuck that way. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, all my introverts out there, and subscribe if you haven't already. I make new videos every week. You check out this next one coming up. It helps with the algorithm to keep that loop going so I can get exposed to more people because YouTube's holding me down, people.
Oh, come on!
I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.